Dear comrades and friends, I'll try to be short and leave some parts that have already been mentioned during our conference. We have gathered here today peace movements from all over the world to join our voices in favor of peace and against war. Yet another NATO summit is taking place in which imperialists are preparing their next moves and the next regions they will attempt to destabilize. NATO's role since its establishment in 1949 has been nothing else than criminal attacks and interventions all over the world. It is well known that NATO was established, as said then, in order to protect the democratic West against the communist threat. A big truth is that the foundation of NATO, a few years after the Second World War, actually marked the beginning of Europe's militarization and the undermining of socialist countries. Foundation of NATO inaugurated the endless list of intervention and assaults against sovereign states, the fostering of military coups, the dictatorships in Latin America, the counter assassinations, and the mankind bloodshed. NATO has never been a defending organization, and this has been proved in a series of evidences that are undisputable. NATO's real character is defined by its actions all these years. These days, in the Middle East, the antagonism and the increasing aggressiveness of the US under Trump administration awake the nightmare of a generalized war. In Asia, again the provoking, thunderous aggressiveness of the US threatened the peace not only in the region but worldwide. We witnessed the drama of hundreds of thousands of refugees, victims of those imperialist wars and interventions. We witnessed the hypocrisy of the EU and its governments when people drown in the Mediterranean Sea, and at the same time, a number of countries closed their borders, leaving them trapped in refugee camps. I mentioned the EU, and that was on purpose. EU's foreign policy has acted for many years as a political radius arm of NATO, and nowadays, through the Lisbon Treaty as approved in 2009, and the global strategy presented by the High Representative, sets NATO as a strategic pillar of EU's member states' defending policy. Solidarity for the European Union means continuous militarization, turning into a twin brother of NATO, engaging in arms sales with the Middle East, in armed conflict, and declaring a change in investments directed towards the arms industry. The EU is carrying out military missions throughout the whole world, creating an EU military command, and is involved in military aggressions and intervention. The EU's hands are stained with the blood of Yugoslavia, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria, while it has colluded for the recurrence of fascism in Ukraine. Allow me now to address a few words about the Cyprus issue. The Cyprus issue is a problem derived from NATO. The conspiracies of imperialism is something familiar because as a result of a NATO imperialist conspiracy, Cyprus was invaded, divided, and illegally continues to be occupied by Turkey for almost 43 years now. The twin crime against Cyprus of the fascist coup and the Turkish invasion was designed in such a NATO summit that took place in Portugal in 1971. Cyprus is of great strategic importance, which connects three continents and was always in NATO's eye to serve its interests, to control a huge area of energy resources, pipelines, and strategic paths. Cyprus is a great bargain for Turkey and hence for NATO. And this is something that especially now we must never forget and always take into account. We have many times said, as Irakli said before, we want the NATO out of Cyprus and Cyprus never in NATO. In Cyprus, we the peace-loving forces fight for freedom and peace for decades now. We try to identify the anti-NATO, anti-occupational, bi-communal struggle by condensing our lines, by recruiting more people from both communities in the struggle for a solution that will be the result of our people's urgent need for a reunited country and a reunited people. We will keep fighting and supporting a negotiation process towards a solution of a united Cyprus in a bicommunal, bizonal federation with a single sovereignty, single citizenship, and single international representation, and with political equality as it is defined in the UN resolutions for Cyprus and the highest levels agreements of 1977 and 79. We fight for a just, viable solution, though, outside of suffocating deadlines and free from custodians and guarantors. NATO today, after 7 decades of bloodshed production and destruction, is still crucial and necessary for imperialist centers, especially in the times of systematic crisis. The powers of imperialism remain committed to their plans for war and global exploitation. Peoples need the dissolution of NATO, and we must fight for it. The anti-imperialist movement must become more massive and intensify the struggle against both NATO and imperialism. The people must fight for the prevailing of a just and long-lasting peace all over the world. We must fight for peace and solidarity, cultural diversity, gender equality, and respect of diverseness. This is why the Cyprus Peace Council has called for a demonstration on Friday, 26th of May in Cyprus. This demonstration will have already confirmed participants from several organizations, Turkish Cypriots and refugees that live in Cyprus. Friends and comrades, there is no other way. We owe it to the future generations, to our people, to humanity, to fight for peace all over the world. Thank you very much.